Hello, I'm Delilah Garza.
And my name is Arnulfo Mendoza, and we got prompt 3, bullet point 1, where we will be talking about Eisenhower's farewell address and Dr. King's speech beyond Vietnam, and how both speeches reflect the changing domestic and international landscape of the United States in the post-war era.
Dr. King argued it was morally wrong for the U.S. to be involved in the Vietnam War. He portrayed that this would condemn the destruction and loss of life caused by the war conflict. He also brings up the issues of poverty, stating that funds are being used for the war rather than improving the poverty and improving lives of people at home. He argued the military was at the wrong focus. Dr. King wants a call for social change. He wanted a broader version of justice. He mentions issues like racism as well and how struggles of people should be addressed more. This was a push for activism, not only for peace of war, but to many other issues such as poverty, racism, and economic inequality. All Dr. King wanted was for the country to be at peace. He calls out militarism as a form of social change due to the poor African Americans and many other minorities being affected by the war. This speech was very controversial at the time because King was pushing for social change and connected domestic issues to the war, like the civil rights movement. It was a speech of the time to break silence.
After serving 2 terms of presidency, Eisenhower gives his farewell address speech on January 17th of 1961, leaving Americans with things to consider and to think about. His main moral of the speech is how we must have balance. To start, he said yes, how our military does need to be strong and ready to go whenever things go south, but that we should focus and try to get peace. Another thing dealing with the military that he talks about is him warning us about the growing power of the quote-unquote military industrial complex. After World War II, he saw how the US had become some kind of global superpower with a large and powerful military, and with that, he believed that the growing relationship between military and defense contractors, basically the people who manufacture war or army supplies, would influence the government decision making and can result in excessive military spending, or can even lead us to be overly aggressive with foreign countries, resulting in conflict. With the wars before him and during him, such as the Korean War, he also warned the people how America shouldn't get too involved with other countries' concerns or problems, and that we would eventually just end up getting caught in the middle of it. Another famous thing that he addressed and advocated for was how the role of science and technology can help better the country. He visioned that the generations to come can advance and become better if they were to keep learning about science and math, being able to create more advanced tools that can help shape the nation. However, with the arms race, where the US and the Soviets kept competing on making powerful weapons, especially nuclear ones, he also warned how we must be careful as to how we use technology and science, and that it can cause major harm just as it can have major benefits. As mentioned before, Eisenhower was all about us trying to find balance with these things.
Now we will be comparing and contrasting both speeches. The similarities between both speeches express the same concerns about the future direction of the United States. Eisenhower famously warns of the military-industrial complex and expresses his concern about the growing influence of the military power. King also critiques U.S.'s militarism, arguing that the military's actions are morally wrong and are affecting marginalized groups such as the poor and African Americans. They both also are against the division of the country. Eisenhower states division could potentially harm the nation's union and stability. King emphasizes the need for unity, which is where he calls issues on social changes. Both want unity. Lastly, they both wanted moral responsibility. Eisenhower stressed for the U.S. to maintain its moral responsibility and to avoid using its military power for imperialistic purposes. He promoted peace and democracy. King mentions taking role in the war was morally wrong for, as mentioned before, the cause of destruction of lives and resources that could be better spent addressing those in need.
Although there are similarities, there are of course contrasts between the two. Eisenhower emphasized the importance of maintaining America's power was through national security and balanced decision making, whereas Dr. King's approach rooted in his philosophy of nonviolence while addressing more issues such as poverty, racism, and inequality to urge a moral awakening. Eisenhower was more focused and concerned about America's global stability, where he addressed how we should not get too involved with foreign nations or their problems and instead find peace with other nations. Whereas Dr. King's focus was more within the nation itself, addressing issues like racism and discrimination. A famous thing that he said was how a black man and a white man can go out to war together, but when they come back, they cannot sit together. You can say that Eisenhower's focus was more on foreign concerns and relations with America, while Dr. King addresses the problems that were going on within the nation. However, at the end, both just wanted peace.
Here are our references. Thank you for watching our presentation. We hope you enjoyed it.